Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series.
Hey guys, it's Adam here, and I got a package. This is basically a website that specializes in retro video games that they kind of update in a sense. So for example, a while back I got a Game Boy Advance from them that basically they had taken the screen out and replaced it with a more modern screen so that the games were backlit and the image was incredibly crystal clear, which was really cool. Also got some N64 end labels. So that's the kind of thing that they do. Now, in this case, what happened is they contacted me, and full disclosure, they sent me this for free, and I don't really know what it is. What they told me was that they were working on Reproduction games. Now, Reproduction games are essentially, if you're not familiar, they're basically sometimes they can be a multitude of different things, but for example, they can be games that are extremely rare. They'll basically make new versions of those games. They'll reprint them. However, of course, they'll denote that they're not the original copies. Or they'll take games that were only released in, say, Japan in straight Japanese, translate it into English, and then put the English version onto a cartridge so you can play it on your original console. They'll also take fan-made games and do the same thing, or they'll take games that were unreleased, like say Star Fox 2, for example, and put that onto an actual cartridge. So that's basically the idea. So like I said, they sent me a couple of these. As far as I know, it's a couple. I'm guessing based on the size of the box, but I don't know. And I don't know what they are, but that was very cool of them to do. If you want to check out their website and see what kind of stuff they have in stock, I'll put a link in the description. As a little bonus, I worked out a little deal with them. If you use my name and then the number 10, Adam Koralik 10, which I'll display right there, you get 10% off of your order, no matter the item. That coupon will be in effect, I think, until May 1st, 2016, so enjoy that. So, alright, now without further ado, let's open it up and check this out and see which games they sent and what they're all about. So I'll just slice in right there, and hopefully I don't have to tear this too much. Let's see it. We have bubble wrap, we have tissue paper. That's always fun. Let's see it. Okay, yes, they sent 2 games. Let's see what they are. The first is a Super Nintendo Reproduction cart, Secret of Mana 2. Okay, now you'll have to forgive my ignorance. I'm not super into like JRPGs, so I obviously know what Secret of Mana is. I've heard of it. I didn't know there was a sequel. I don't know if the sequel is a fan-made thing. I don't know if it was a Japanese game and they just translated it, but I do know that there it is. I will show it to you in just a moment. Let's take it out here. It's cool. They give a full paper box and, of course, an actual Super Nintendo cartridge. Now these don't appear to be donor carts based on the way the plastic looks. It looks like these are just completely new produced shells. But yeah, Secret of Mana 2. And the other one, that's, okay, I'm very happy with this one. This is like the one Reproduction game I know I definitely would have bought someday, so thank you. Megaman, the Wily Wars. This game I actually do know something about. This game was, as far as, well, I don't know if it had a Japanese release, but I know it had a European release. It never had a North American release. And the European release is extremely rare. But problem with the European release is it was designed for 50 hertz, so if you try to bring it over here, the game runs slower. So in the case of the Reproduction cartridge, it's much cheaper. It looks, of course, like a North American style, and it was designed to run via 60 hertz. So yeah, that's really cool. It comes with a manual, very nice. Yeah, it's color. It's material of the manual honestly isn't the best. It doesn't feel like a super authentic manual, I'm not gonna lie, but it looks like one. And the cartridge appears to actually, I think it's a donor case because it actually says Sega on the back, which is cool. It's heavier than a normal game, so I imagine there's more data in there. That's really cool. Yeah, so for Megaman fans, that's definitely one you might want to look into.
So I'm booting up the Super Nintendo here, which you can see it just pops in and that's it. There's nothing special you got to do. That, of course, is a Super Nintendo Junior that was RGB modded. Again, thank you to a guy named Timothy for doing that. And that's how this footage is actually being recorded, is it's going through RGB SCART to HDMI and then being captured with a Hauppauge HD PVR2, which is why it looks better than your standard composite video type of capture, which is very nice. Now, as I said before, I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to the JRPG genre. It's just never been one that really captivated me, so I apologize for my lack of information in this video, on this particular game anyway. But what I do know about it, at least from a technical standpoint, is, as I mentioned earlier, it was a Japanese release. I found that out. It was definitely released on the Super Famicom. And this is really a ROM hack where they just translated it all from Japanese to English. I'm sure it wasn't just, a matter of Google Translate. I'm sure human beings sat down and actually, figured out what made sense to write. But essentially, once they do that process, they update the ROM, and then that ROM is placed onto a board, and then that's put inside of a cartridge, and that's what you're looking at. And that's really very cool. Now, I cut out, there was a very long intro at the beginning of this, which I cut out. There was also, the whole scene where you're selecting your character and you're picking their names and all that stuff. I did end up naming my character Adam just for, kind of the fuck of it. Not really no other reason than that. So that would be me, the guy with the red hair, attacking the other dude. Now, I'm not sure if you're supposed to lose this first fight, because even when I hit him, it doesn't really do any damage. So I'm kind of thinking this is supposed to be that way, but again, forgive my ignorance. I really know very little about this game or this series. I'd also like to point out that the box specifically denotes that this is only for NTSC units, meaning this will work on a Super Famicom, provided you have you either take the lid off of one or you have an appropriate cartridge adapter, that type of thing, like a Game Genie or an import cart. It's meant for basically North American Super Nintendos, either the fat model or, as I showed you already, the junior model. But again, junior models don't natively have RGB, just keep that in mind. So it won't always look this good. But yeah, that's just a matter of how you have the video connection set up, and that's really a different thing that doesn't really have anything to do with the game itself. But yeah, so basically what I'm saying is PAL units apparently don't work with this. I assume that's because the original Japanese version was built, of course, for the Super Famicom, which is NTSC, and I'm sure they just never really converted it over. Or maybe there is a PAL compatible version, and that's obviously not what they sent me, since I would have no use for that. I don't know. You'd have to ask the guys over at 8-Bit Evolution. I should have mentioned this earlier, or at least plugged it earlier, I should say. Earlier I mentioned the Game Boy Advance video and the N64 end labels. If you want to see those, I'll put links to in the description to those videos, so you can see other samples of the things they do. Because this store doesn't just sell reproduction cards. Like I said, they sell all sorts of cool gaming shit. And yeah, again, there's two different websites. They have like an Etsy page, and then they have like their main page. I found that the Etsy page seems to have more content on it, so you might want to just shop there. But either way, I'll put a link in the description so you can check it out. But yeah, so there is more Secret of Mana. I think this game actually looks really cool from a visual standpoint. I just wish, I don't know what it is. I've never been able to get into JRPGs. Like, ever since I was a little kid, I couldn't do it. I don't know if it was like lack of patience, or I just never was exposed to the right one. I don't know, man. But like, I don't know what it is, because every time I'm looking at one, I can't help but like want to just move the character and do like platforming shit. Maybe I just played too much platformers, and I realize that's kind of ironic, because my favorite game of all time is technically an RPG, Shenmue, of course, or Free, F-R-E-E, full reactive eyes entertainment. Yeah, that was before it was called, or that was before the open world had a term. Never mind, that has nothing to do with anything. I don't know. Maybe I should try another one. Would you guys recommend any other one? I heard that what was it? Was it Secret of Mana, the first one that a lot of people say was like the beginner's RPG? I don't know. There is one on the Super Nintendo. I'm totally spacing out on what game it is. I can't remember. That doesn't matter. Or no, Mystic Quest. That was it. Mystic Quest is the one that everyone says like that's the one you got to play when you're first getting into RPGs. Anyway, that'll give you a little taste of what it looks like there. So now let's you got the machine, the Sega Genesis CE32X combo all fired up. Megaman, the Wily Wars. As I mentioned earlier, one cool thing about this is that the PAL build of this was obviously for PAL consoles and ran at a slower frequency. So if you could afford to actually import it, which, good luck, because it's super expensive, you likely weren't going to be able to get it working right. Whereas this, they've adjusted for that, so it actually runs at 60 hertz. You know, it'll fit in with your North American Genesis library, and yeah, very, very cool. Now, the Gaming Historian did an entire video on this particular release. In fact, he even talked specifically about the Wily Wars reproduction cart. I would actually recommend watching that for like a full history of this, because he did a much better job than I'm ever going to be able to. But the long and the short of it is that this particular release, you know, went through kind of production hell, and basically what it is a collection of the earliest Megaman games, but like remastered for 16 bits, kind of like Super Mario All-Stars took the 3 Mario Brothers on the NES and then remastered them for a 16-bit remake, basically. Same concept, except it didn't really get released anywhere. And as I understand it, most of the re-releases of Mega Man, even the upcoming Mega Man Legacy Collection for like the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and all that, that is actually just going to be re-releases of the 8-bit version. So the 16-bit remakes are pretty much only on the Wily Wars set. At least that's what I have come to understand. I'm sure there's Mega Man super fans out there who know better and are probably cursing me out because I'm so obviously terrible at this game. You have to give me a break, man. This is like the first time I've ever played this. I played Mega Man a bit when I was younger, like the NES ones, but I obviously have never played the remake before. And I do apologize for the high amount of suctitude that I am consisting of in this game, but sorry. You know, it was just a blind first run, basically. I'm sure I could get better if I kept playing it. You know, give me a break. I'm not going to be always terrible at it. Yeah. Anyway, that's it, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching. Check them out. The link's in the description, and I'll see you all later.